Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. I'm back on the Crestic Nola, and I talked about how it had been abused and the governor had been abused, and we had nuts on the spring barrels, and now I'm working on the governor. And sometimes this happens, and you're going to have to look at it closely. This screw here is one that I pulled out
Of the governor.
of the governor. This is an original screw, and I have one more of these like this. And what you have to understand is when this end piece to the governor, we'll say it fits on here. We'll back this off a minute. This fits on here like this. So what they had done is they used a screw that was longer, so it was going in here to hold the governor spring and assembly together, but it was bottoming out on this.
What difference does that make?
That means that now the weight is loose. That's why they were wiggling. And I had two of them that were wiggling like that. So then I went in and I found a good screw that's a 172. And I tested everything. And I found out that they had boogered up a couple of the holes. So then I said, okay, now we have to move up a bigger size because they retapped it for 256. So we have a 172 original thread, and now they went to a 256. Now what happens is they messed up that hole by trying to jam it together. Now we have to go to a 440. So when you have governors and you run into different screws, you need to take a good screw, and I'm going to use this as a demo. We're going to say that this is a good screw out of the governor, and it's holding the springs in place. You're going to take all the screws, and you're going to have to find another good one, and you take them and you put them like this. You put them together so that this edge here on both of them, this is how you check screw length. Now you'll see how both screws hit the bottom of the screw, if you understand now. So if you get a screw, and let's say you check it like that, and you have space up here, it's too long. So now what you have to do, and this gets complicated, we now have to drill and tap all the holes so all the screws match. So I went to 440. So now you have to drill all 6 holes and retap them. So when you drill them out, you can do this at home if you're very, very careful, but you really need a drill press. Say this is the drill. You want to make sure it comes in, hits this, and is running vertically down. So you'll just go boop. Then you'll use a tap. The first tap you'll use is this one with a point on it. You'll tap it. Then you'll switch to this tap that's flat on at the head of it, and this is called a bottoming tap. Now that you've drilled all these out, and then you've done it this, what happens when you drill out this hole and then you tap it, it leaves a burr like that on the inside. So now what you're going to have to do is after you get everything done, you'll have to come in with a flex hone and flex hone that out and then check it on the shaft so that it slides on. That is not sliding on hard. That burr is not stopping it from moving, especially on the flywheel side. But the flywheel side's easier to drill because we have 2 flat sides.
So you have to now drill this as well?
You have to drill this as well, and then you'll rotate it over and drill that one, and rotate it over and drill that one, and then you'll run 2 different taps through to get it right, and then you'll flex zone, and it'll all assemble. So when I'm all done, that's the screw I'll have in instead of the original, and they look almost identical, but then we had those in there. And they just when they screwed these two screws in on this thing, they just cranked it in until they could get it. And that's why we ended up with a stupid washer trying to hold everything together, because it was bottoming out. And you run into this, you know, these things are 100, 120 years old, and you have to, when you're fixing them, you say, okay, I have to do this right so everything will fit. And then it's just a matter of assembling like any other governor you work on. But this takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to do it right. And when you're tapping, you want to make sure the tap's coming straight in like this, and then it's not tapping in at the side. You want to make sure it's going like this. What I would do, be a piece of aluminum or brass, a little chunk of it, you can find it, and I would practice tapping them and make sure that they're tapping straight in. So you can do that, because when you first learn to tap, you know, you won't get them perfectly done. But I've tapped so many holes, it's just, and that's my tip for the day.